Good morning, Oklahoma, and welcome to Cow-Calf Corner. I'm Mark Johnson, and this week's topic is on the importance of water. Water is really the most critical nutrient that we have for beef cattle. If we think about beef animals, water is over 50% of their weight. It's involved in the regulation of temperature, something that's extremely critical this time of year, because it's definitely warmed up in Oklahoma as we tape here in late July. It's involved in dealing with all kinds of stress, and particularly heat stress. And so we take a little time this week to talk about some ballpark estimates of just how much water a cow actually needs that's in production. And the interesting thing about water and water requirements for a cow from day to day, it's going to be influenced a lot by her stage of production, whether or not she's a dry or lactating cow. And even as we think about those different stages, does she milk really heavy? Does she milk really light? Is also going to influence her daily water requirements. The mature size of that cow and just how big she is going to play a role in how much water she needs each day. And we get into the type of grass that we see cows running on. And this time of year, as we look at whether it's Bermuda grass, native grass pastures, that dry matter content of that forage gets a lot higher and there's less moisture. We may be grazing the same pastures and the same grasses that 2 or 3 months ago might have been a much higher moisture content than those are as a more mature grass right now. And cows can meet their water requirements just by ingesting straight sources of water, as well to some extent by that moisture content that's in whatever feed that they're consuming. So that plays a role as well. It gets interesting thinking about all those different things, just how much water a cow is going to consume. We can reference an OSU fact sheet that came out a few years ago and come up with some pretty good estimates of just how much water a mature cow needs day to day. The other thing that's going to influence the water intake of cows is just the temperature. And we're going to talk a little more about heat stress in next week's episode. But on a 90-degree day, a 1,300-pound dry cow needs about 14 gallons of water a day. A 1,500-pound cow that milks pretty heavy, maybe is giving 30, 35 pounds of milk a day, is going to need well over 20 pounds of water in a typical day. The more the heat and humidity goes up, those requirements get even higher. As we see that temperature go down, those requirements actually are reduced a little bit. And so it's the time of year that we typically get more concerned about things that may cause heat stress. We need to keep an eye on our water sources. We've dealt with some dry conditions in Oklahoma the last couple years. I know in a lot of cases we may still have stock water ponds that are a little bit low. So take into consideration what your cows need as far as daily water requirements. Some general rules of thumb to keep in mind. For every 10 degrees the temperature goes up over 40 degrees Fahrenheit, you're going to bump the daily water requirement of a cow by about a gallon. For each additional gallon of milk that a cow gives, you're going to bump her daily water requirements by about a gallon as well. It's almost a one-to-one relationship relative to the amount of milk produced and the amount of water that a cow is going to need. So those are the drivers, the things that influence it. Obviously an important time of year with the temperatures heating up here in Oklahoma to keep in mind what those daily water requirements of beef cows are going to be. Thanks for joining us this week.